So, welcome to this week's episode of Social Chatter. My name is Christian Karasevich. I'm the CEO and founder of Social Chefs. And I'm joined today by my co-host, Nick Rishwain. How you doing, Nick?
Doing well. How about you?
Fantastic. We've got a lot of great people watching today. I want to give a shout out to, we've got Eileen Smith here. We've also got, who else is this? What's the 411? Big shout out to everyone watching. Now, if you're catching this on the replay, just a couple of quick housekeeping tips. Basically, if you have any questions during the show, you can put them in the show by putting /Q. You can also leave them in the comments if you're watching this, say, on YouTube. Also, if you have any questions, you can tweet us at Social Chefs, at CKROKS, at experts.com VP. That's Nick's Twitter accounts.
That's my work Twitter account. That's correct.
And use the hashtag Social Chatter, and I'll put all these items here in the chat window for everybody. So what we like to do here basically is we like to share the latest social media news along with a couple of tools that we think can really help you as a business owner. And we try to put everything in a business slant. So we might talk about a new update, but we're going to try to position it to where you can get useful tips out of using this. So let's kick off this is the 48th episode, by the way, of Social Chatter. And I'm looking forward to hitting episode 50.
Yeah, very cool.
So
is Vincent going to join us at all today? Do we know?
Do what?
Any Vincent today?
I'm not really sure, actually. He chatted with him earlier today. He said he was really busy. For those of you who don't know, Vincent made a switch in jobs, and he now has a lot of extra work going on. So
that's a good problem to have.
It is, yes. It's a good problem because he's got a lot to a lot to work on, but at the same time, it's also a lot. I think they're running with a skeleton crew.
Yes.
So no big deal if Vincent makes it. We'll be happy to have him on here. And by the way, if you want to get Vincent on the show, you can always tweet him at Vincent Orlak, I think?
Yep, at Vincent Orlak.
You can tweet him at Vincent Orlak, and that'll get him on the show, hopefully. But while we're waiting, let's start kicking off with this week's social media news. So first item, actually, I want to talk about, and I've got 5 items today. Twitter has updated Twitter Moments. And Nick, have you had a chance to look at this, actually?
I read something about it earlier in the week. That it appeared that they were going to release it to influencers and celebrities and such first, and at a later date, the rest of us may be able to create moments from our own feeds or from taking from archives and creating moments of our own. I as I understood it, that was a couple of days ago, though.
Absolutely, and you made a really good point there, actually. So first, I want to tell everybody what Twitter Moments. It's basically a way for you to collect and curate tweets that tell stories, and you can kind of look at it like this. For example, let's say it's I was going to use the Olympics, but that's not a good example, I guess, because the Olympics doesn't want you tweeting during using their hashtag and whatnot. But let's just use an example. Let's say we have what's an event we have going on, Vincent? Or sorry, Vincent, Nick. Sorry,
Vincent's got a much better head of hair than I do. Event. Let me see. There's
people would know about
NFL preseason.
Okay, NFL preseason. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, I think, right?
Yes.
So
I went to Twitter and looked for a hashtag, and that's what you got.
Very cool. Okay, well, let's do that as an example. Okay, so Twitter Moments, they let us, collect and curate tweets that basically tell a story. So let's say it's the NFL preseason that's coming up, and we want to potentially create our own moment around this. So what we could do is we could curate different tweets and different, pieces of content, whether it's a video, a Periscope, a photo, text tweets. We could put all of that stuff into a Twitter Moment, and then that would then become available within the Twitter Moments feature, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's at the bottom of your Twitter app. If you're on the mobile device or if you're on the desktop, you can go to twitter.com. And once you're logged in, there should be a Moments section there.
It should be right next to your home button on the desktop.
So I want to say, I liked the one thing that you said a minute ago about this. So you said that it's a great way for potentially influencers to be able to use this. Now, this is a really fascinating thing. I like the fact that like Twitter's getting into this, LinkedIn got into it starting last week, I think, with Twitter. With LinkedIn's new video feature they have. What are your thoughts on this? You like the idea that they're rolling this out, that they're kind of moving things along, or do you think Twitter has other things?
I think moments. Are you getting bad feedback from me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, getting it on myself, I guess. I think it's a good idea. Moments was not the most excellent of rollouts of new features.
Okay.
And so anything they can do to improve that. In fact, if I recall correctly, when Moments came out, their stock price fell because it didn't seem all that innovative at the time. Yeah, totally, don't take my word for that. It's as I recall. Mm-hmm. But anything to innovate it. Strangely enough, I use Moments regularly now, but I am on Twitter on desktop throughout the day.
Okay.
So I think we see this a lot when a social media platform rolls out a new feature of any type. It goes to the influencers first. That's what I understand that they're going to do with this Moments feature. Will go to celebrities and influencers first. At a later date, maybe you and I will get to play with it. I think anything they can do to improve the reasons to be on Twitter, either on desktop or on mobile, is a good idea. If they can spruce up Moments, which was maybe not the cleanest of rollouts, nor the most impressive of features, then I think that'll be good.
So I want to kind of backtrack real quick on one thing. So I find it really fascinating. So, okay, when everybody came out with all of their big social media updates, what was one thing that happened? And this is kind of a learning process, right? Everything's trial and error. So let's say I think when social media started to kind of really, start to get rolled out, everybody started to really just launch features. They were half baked. They really were not, they were thought out, but in some cases it was like, well, there's too much, too many people trying to use this one feature. And you had a lot of, crashes where things didn't work. And that created a lot of negative sentiment towards a product. So in this case, like Twitter Moments possibly might have been one of those. You're absolutely right. People didn't really, they didn't really think that was actually going to add more value to get people on Twitter, and to use it more, to come back to it. And so with this feature, I like the fact that there's, I think all of the social media channels are starting to do this, which is they're starting to really say, hey, you know what? Let's test with some influencers first. And once we get this, kind of rolled out with them, let's then do, another larger rollout of this. I like the direction they're going with this. I like the fact that they're going to bring influencers into this. I think for me, the one question I do have to ask on Twitter Moments is it too late? Because a lot of people are really questioning the value of Twitter. But yet, and I know they're questioning the value of it, but I know if you go to any sort of event, everybody is just mainly using Twitter as the communication tool. So there's still some value, but I think it's a little sliver. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I dislike the comments that people are constantly questioning the Twitter value. I dislike that. Bothers me that they say that, partially because I am a fan of Twitter. I found the value for both business and personal on Twitter, and I was a late comer to it. So it bothers me when I hear people say that, and I think it also eliminates it also gives people the wrong idea that, look, if you've got 300 million monthly active users, there's some value there somewhere. And if you see the hashtags and people talking about DNC, RNC, Rio 2016, there's value there. Okay. If that's how people are using to communicate and comment in real time over an event, there is some value there. And I think people fail, and I have to give this comment to or give credit to a friend, Aaron Adele, who mentioned that Twitter is half social media, half search engine. And that's what people don't necessarily realize. There is a lot of value there. This may be late to the game to bring in new users, or the feature may not be fascinating enough to bring in new users, but it may still have value because I think it is a social network that still has a significant amount of value.
Absolutely. By the way, I like your point there that you just made about how, like, a lot of people don't really realize it's also part search engine. I mean, I will say this: if I ever want to find like a piece of news, or for instance, I could be wanting to look up Twitter moments. What's the one way that I'm doing this? Yeah, I'm going to Google, but guess what I'm looking at? I'm looking at tweets. I'm not looking for like the latest blog post necessarily that tells me about Twitter moments, because most of the time that content is not going to be updated enough. It's not going to be current. It's going to be somebody saying, well, hey, here's how I use Twitter moments in my business. And it's, a bunch of fluff in most cases. So I like the fact that you pointed out that it is a tool that people use for search engines as well. Personally, while it may be a little late to the game because, people are saying, well, hey, nobody's going on Twitter. I actually think that Twitter is really starting to make some pretty big strides here. And that kind of actually brings me to one of the next topics that I wanted to talk about today. But, I really think that Twitter moments is, it's going to have its moment very soon, no pun intended there. But I think that it's a very good tool. I mean, if I'm a business, I want to start looking at moments, even though you may not have it yet. Start brainstorming some ideas to see if, hey, is there anything for moments here that I might be able to possibly utilize in my own business? So that's my thoughts on moments. By the way, I did notice you were saying here that I guess there was a little choppiness. Was that with the video or the audio?
It's on my end. It's video mostly and a little on audio as well. So I didn't know if anybody else noticed it. Or
not really sure. I'm not noticing much of it, but if anybody notices any issues with anything, just let us know, and we'll do our best to try and fix it. Not that we really can, right?
No, but sometimes a refresh can clean it up. Browser refresh can clean it up.
So topic one, we got Twitter opening up moments, more creators. Pretty cool. So topic number two, and this is actually one that I talked about it. You and I might have talked about this last week, but topic two is actually a really cool one. So Twitter has this new feature they're rolling out to let you unlock exclusive content using a tweet and a hashtag. And I am super excited about this. You know why? Because I think that when people would do Twitter ads, okay, and this sort of also kind of ties into Moments, because Moments is like a nice little stepping stone, but this is a really cool feature. So this feature, so when people would run Twitter ads, what would happen is they'd run an ad, they try to target a certain user, they'd get people clicking on it, maybe to enlarge it and stuff like that, but they wouldn't be getting people that were necessarily relevant to their business. So this new feature is, I think, going to change a lot of that. And this feature basically is a way for you as a business to run ads to encourage somebody to tweet something using a branded hashtag to unlock exclusive content. Now, I see value written all over this particular feature. What do you think?
I like this feature, and this is the first I heard of it. When you messaged me earlier today. This was the first I heard of it. So I have not had. I thought I was going to have more time to prepare, as I mentioned to you, and it just turned out not to be the case. So this is really cool. So you would set up a landing page with maybe a video if you're a band or something, and as long as they use Nick's band hashtag, then they get to view that video. Is that how you see this playing out, or that's an example?
So if you happen to, did you see the example that they have in the article? Okay,
I did, and I'm going to pull that back up right now.
For example, the way this would, let me see if I can actually share this link.
Tweet us to reveal an exclusive. Okay, yeah. So similar to what I did, I probably explained it a little messier than.
But no big deal on that at all, actually. So basically, that's really funny. I get a browser does not support video playback here, huh? But basically, here's how I could see this playing out. So I could be let's talk about an example, I guess. So they give the example of The Walking Dead. Okay. So somebody could send a tweet with a certain hashtag, in this case, hashtag TWDSDCC, and it would reveal SDCC video content. So it would reveal exclusive content. The tweet tells you tweet it with the hashtag to unlock it. Okay. So somebody tweets that, they put the hashtag in, and afterwards they get a video. So basically, it's a way to develop a gated asset for Twitter. And people will be able to
I like that.
think like conversational ads. It's part of their conversational ads feature. They're basically tweets with images or video along with a call to action that prompts users to tweet the brand's message and hashtag. Now, this is why I think this is a really useful feature. If I'm a business, and you probably hear a lot of people talk about this, talk about using like an upsell basically in your content, also commonly referred to as a lead magnet. Basically, this is essentially a lead magnet for, in a way, a lead magnet for a tweet. And so I could include all sorts of stuff. I could include, for instance, if it's an image, well, maybe I give you an image, but maybe it's, potentially an infographic or some sort of graphic that has, some value to it. I give you a video, for example. The benefit to this, though, is that, like, let's say I'm a business and I'm putting on events, and this is like super awesome. And by the way, Eileen, thanks for saying the content upgrade. So I could totally be at an event. I could be putting on an event, and then let's say, okay, I want to like really get people to talk about my business, my event actually. So maybe what I could do is I could have somebody doing like some B-roll footage or something while the event's going on, or even before the event, to really hype up the event and encourage people to retweet this or to tweet this with the hashtag. And that's immediately going to start to really juice my campaign.
That's right. That's right.
It's also very useful because it, really, like, a lot of times people have all this footage kind of lying around, right? They don't ever use some of those behind the scenes, images and whatever else. So what you theoretically could do here is you could use, for instance, your iPhone, your Android device. You could take a bunch of images. You could create like a collage, maybe like a behind the scenes collage. And you could.
I was thinking behind the scenes would be
absolutely
great for this.
So you could basically do that, and then put that into a tweet that encourages your audience, who you already know is interested because they're already attending your event and they know what hashtag is there and they're following along on their stream. They see this and they have a great reason to actually be active on Twitter and to use this feature versus, oh, hey, like I'm at an event and I forgot to actually tweet because I really wasn't that engaged with you. In this case, this gives me a reason to want to be on Twitter all the time at an event, even more.
Yes. And not only that, but it gives you, this is a really trackable way, I think, to see how much engagement you're getting through your Twitter advertisements. If people are clicking and watching that video, they are doing the initial tweet with the hashtag such and such to reveal this, you get some really good information, really good analytics on exactly who is engaged with your content. That, I think, is really important.
That is a fabulous, that is a perfect explanation there of why somebody should use this. Because if you run normal Twitter ads, most of the time you don't have any idea who is clicking on your content. Like, you don't know, like, is that person like legit, or am I just getting a whole bunch of like hot air here? And am I wasting my money? With this, if you use it properly, you can get tremendous results out of this. I don't even have to run these to tell you can get tremendous results out of this.
Yeah. And then if you want to go back and see who was actively engaged, you go back and you search the hashtag. Yeah. And then okay, well, here's our folks who were actively engaged.
And then, so here's the other thing. You could end up essentially doing that, and then you could remarket potentially to that audience who liked a particular thing. Now, it depends on what your business is. I'll use The Walking Dead as an example. If somebody is, if somebody is like sharing that article, like, of course, you're going to need a big social media team to manage that. But if somebody is, you notice people are watching it, that is like another way for you then to reach out to them when you have, for example, maybe you want to run a campaign later on and do something with influencers. That's a great way for you to identify people who actually are interested in that. And you might want to pull them into your content, fan created content,
And if they are raving fans or something like this, you may want to put a list out, active engagers list together, so that you can make sure to give those people special attention.
Absolutely, and so there's so much you can do with this. And I would say that don't get too hung up on like, well, what do I create? Just think about it. Have some fun with it. Just think about your business. Like, what would somebody want to actually use on? Like, what would they want to retweet? Chances are, like Nick said, I think behind the scenes video would be amazing.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate here on this one for a second, if you don't mind, but I can see this getting abused and turning into a clickbait thing in a heartbeat.
Very possible, yes.
Yeah, I can see that happening real soon. So, but I'm sure those will also become, as clickbait does, and this may be a transition into your next one, actually, your next topic, but you'll probably pretty easily be able to identify what is clickbait after a while.
For sure, yeah, and you make a very good point there. Transitioning into kind of what the next topic would be. So, talked about Twitter moments. Talked about this whole like Twitter exclusive content upgrade by tweeting a hashtag. Topic number 3 is the fact that Facebook is looking to, and that's all I have to say about Twitter for today, actually, unless you have something else you want to add.
No, I think it's good that we covered it, though, because I still think there's great value in there. And I think if you're in business, you need to still adopt it if you haven't already.
And here's the other thing, before we jump into this next topic, that is another really good suggestion there, because if I'm a business and, and I'm looking for new ways to do things. So let's just quickly talk about repurposing. I could take some of this content, and here's the thing. I could use the same piece of content on a blog post or an article on my website. And that's a content upgrade. So somebody opts in via an email address to get your content. And then on the other side, I could do the same exact thing on Twitter, take that same piece of content. So I'm not having to like reinvent the wheel and create 2 pieces of content. I'm strategically creating a piece of content that can be reused in a blog post and on Twitter. Now, you don't want to give somebody like a video that they can just go watch on your YouTube channel, but right. If it's like if it's a locked video, for instance, private video, unlisted, you can always do that as well. Consider using something like that. But yeah, repurpose your content. Don't worry about, hey, I got to create more content. It's not. You're just repurposing a piece of content.
Good point.
So, topic number 3. Facebook is working to reduce clickbait. And I'm glad that they're starting to do this. It's actually really good because they gave a lot of examples on this one.
Yeah, they do.
I almost want to say I would love to see an article that had clickbait headlines, like, actually calling out some of the sites that do some of that stuff, because I don't like it.
Yeah,
I get why they're doing it. A lot of times they do it for ads, and then they have some convoluted process for people to be able to actually get around the ads.
Right. It's, I generally don't click on them anyway. So they're usually pretty easy to identify. And 9 times out of 10, in my experience, clickbait involves some sort of celebrity or some sort of health related item. And the title usually gives some sort of call to action as to, or you can see it often with financial services as well. And it's usually, some revolutionary new health thing, or guess what Kim Kardashian did, something that would normally probably a lot of people in the country are interested in that. I am not interested in what's happening with celebrity, so that doesn't catch my attention. I generally see it in those items. Financial, health, or celebrity, and so they're usually pretty easy to identify. I'd love to see less of it, because generally, if you do click on it, when they do outsmart me, which I get angry at myself for when that happens as well. When they do, and I go over there and I find something that's of so little value, or you have to the slideshow to actually go through it, and the website is so bad that it takes forever to go through it, and there's pop-ups. So it's a frustrating occurrence when you do get caught.
And they have some really good examples here. So just, we have ones that were saying things like, when she looked under her couch cushions and saw this, I was shocked. The dog barked at the delivery man and his reaction was priceless. Unfortunately, I also see a lot of social media blogs that do this too.
See a lot of social media influencers who do.
Oh, there's a lot of that, but I see there are actually a couple of, they make some pretty good tools too. But I've noticed that they have a lot of headlines that are very, very much clickbait, in my opinion. And Eileen asked a really good question here. Do we think BuzzFeed headlines ever crossed the line on this? What's your take, Nick?
Yes. But I also think BuzzFeed, it's clickbait in my mind. It may not be clickbait in the mind of many millennial viewers. Now, I've got a couple of millennials in the office here who work for me, who are BuzzFeed readers. Mm-hmm. So it may feel like clickbait to me. It may be how they're getting their news, which is, and BuzzFeed stories are oftentimes much more like Twitter moments, right? It's news via picture and short blurbs. For all intents and purposes, for me, I think BuzzFeed does a lot of clickbait, but they are somewhere between entertainment and news.
I sort of see them almost like Reddit and Mashable, because Mashable has a lot of clickbait as well. Mm-hmm. It used to be a really very relevant source, but I really think, I think they've kind of gone the other way. Eileen, good question. Isn't Facebook paying BuzzFeed to create content? I think they were at one time. I'm not sure. At least, that was the rumor. I can't speak on that because I obviously don't know the.
Yeah, I don't have that answer.
But I think they were at one time, or maybe they weren't being paid. I'm wondering if I think it was actually just that, because there was actually at a conference a few months ago, and they had talked about how BuzzFeed was like the number one. I think it was like videos, or maybe it was Snapchat. I think they were talking about how like BuzzFeed was like the top one, like the top user or something like that.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So,
and their articles that I've read are very similar to their Snap stories. Yeah, in my viewpoint, I guess, my point of view. But yeah, I think they're all, Yahoo's got terrible clickbait on their site too. So I don't think anybody is above using the tactic, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate. I mean, because honestly, like I look at the, front of BuzzFeed, for instance, and there's a lot of content that they have on there where I'm like, a lot of other sites are already posting about that same thing. Yeah. You're basically all just trying to do the same thing. You're trying to get, to the top of, you're trying to be top of mind with people. But it's, it does happen, I guess, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, let's keep going. So let's see, topic 3. Topic 4, new way to control Facebook ads. And this is actually kind of funny because Facebook is, let's just talk about topic 4. And then I'll kind of tell you what kind of is happening. Yeah.
Okay, so new way to control the ads you see on Facebook is this, and an update on ad blocking. Mm-hmm. That is the topic here.
Yes. So what they're basically trying to do is they're trying to give you ad preferences to make those, obviously like easier to use, so you can stop seeing certain types of ads, which is going to be, it's pretty nice. Mm-hmm. You can just go to like facebook.com/ads/preferences. And it's actually kind of neat. So there's a whole bunch of categories that are listed here. And you can go through and say, okay, I want to see, for instance, like you can see, for instance, Small Business Saturday. And there's an information button. And you can see that you have this preference because you like the page related to Small Business Saturday. For example, I've got some yoga one that I've not ever seen. And I can go in and basically just X out on this, say, hey, I don't want to see this.
Right.
Basically, I'm going in, I'm able to go in and basically tell Facebook, I don't want to see these ads again, or this type of ad. So what they'll still do is, they'll still probably, basically, I'm editing my preferences to improve the relevancy, but not the amount of ads I see. That's basically what they're doing. So
you'll see more. You'll see probably same amount of ads. They're just hopefully going to be more relevant to what you are interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't see anything wrong with that.
No.
It's still a business. It still has to make money. Then as long as they're showing me, if they're showing me something about female hygiene that I have no use for, then that's not targeted for per user either. I mean, that's no good for the actual the advertiser to target me for something that is not appropriate for me. So I think this could be good.
It's actually cool. So you can basically go into this ad preference section and you can tell Facebook, like you're not, like you said, you're not changing the number of ads you're seeing. You could turn all of them off and you're still going to see ads. You're basically tailoring the content that you're being shown based on your preferences.
Right.
And so you can go in and remove things. You can go in and add things. For example, I have 301 listed under business and industry, 49 listed under food and drink. So I must like a lot of restaurants. And then I've got some location ones that are here as well, based on, maybe where I'm at. For instance, if maybe I moved and I no longer live in, for instance, Michigan, never lived in Michigan, by the way, I can go in and I can change that ad preference as well so that it doesn't show up and replace it with something else. So I get more tailored content to my to Facebook.
Yeah, I think this is a good plan.
Now,
because I constantly get stuff that is of no value to me, and that means if it's of no value to me, it means it's of no value for the advertiser to be paying for me to see it either.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I like this feature. I like the fact that, again, it's something that you as a business owner, you need to go in and, if you're starting to see too many competitors and that sort of stuff showing up in your Facebook account, you do want to go in and you want to make some adjustments to kind of, to improve what you're seeing. But I would say, at the same time, don't do anything. If you do nothing, you're going to still get the same content that's out there. So maybe you want to go in there, once a month, spend a couple minutes in there and tweak what you're seeing.
Good idea.
So on the flip side, so that's the whole Facebook ad preferences feature, which is really handy. On the flip side, we have an additional change, and this little change is Facebook. Well, and this is interesting. This just came out, but basically they're working on getting around ad blockers so that their ads were not going to get blocked.
Right.
Now, on the flip side of that, immediately after they came out with this, which was, I think, 2 days ago, this feature is now set back up to where ad blockers can block Facebook ads.
Okay.
So you're never going to escape ads. I mean, we've talked about this tons of times. Never going to escape them, but it is kind of cool that you can. Facebook at least trying to work on this.
Yeah. It'll be less. They'll be less annoying if they're more targeted, in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
If they have, if it has some interest for me, then it will be less annoying to see than seeing an ad for skydiving, which I have no plans on doing. It's not. There's nothing in my Facebook profile to show that I'm into extreme sports, so I don't need to see that. So I think that. So it'll be more valuable to me.
Definitely. So this is overall, it's a good feature. I mean, I think that I think both these are really good features for users. They're really starting to really hone in on the importance of letting a user tailor some of the content because they don't want to get they don't want to get annoying. For instance, they want to hone in on the clickbait piece because they want people to keep coming back to Facebook. They want to hone in on the ad preferences. Because they want you to be able to have one of the best experiences you can on Facebook. And if you're seeing ads, for instance, that aren't relevant to you, what's going to happen? People are going to talk, they're going to complain, and then people are going to have this negative view of Facebook. And then lastly, they're looking to give you also ways to make sure that your ads, if you're a paying business, that they get seen. And so I like these steps they're taking. So the last topic I have for today, by the way, is, let's see, this is topic 5. Yeah. Instagram's testing a new save draft feature. Not too much use at the moment on this, but it is very handy that Instagram is actually, they like the fact that they're testing this at least.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, how many times are you going to post something somewhere and this is like pulling something right out of the email feature, right? Where you can save a draft and come back to it later. How many times are you in the process of doing something, but the call comes in or another notification comes up and you're like, well, I need to address that notification, the notification that I got. Come back. Now, if you're good at multitasking through your iPhone, which is what I use, iOS, then you can usually do it without losing it. But if you're gone for too long, sometimes you'll lose something. So anytime you can save a draft or you start writing it and you think, well, maybe I want to do it a little different, I think it's a good process. I use it on occasion with Twitter, and I'd like to, I'm not a big Instagram user, but I think anytime that you can save something, edit it, and send it at a later time is a good idea.
So I got to say this: the one thing that is really, I like by the way, I like the fact that you have a drafts feature. And so the way this is going to work is like if I'm uploading, for instance, a photo. I mean, I'm going to test this because it said they were testing it, but I've also seen from a few people that they actually have it. So let me actually see if this is actually live right now.
Okay.
So let's just check this.
Eileen makes a great point. She says she likes this one because sometimes she wants to tag someone, but needs to go and grab their IG handle in order to tag them. So you can save the draft, grab the handle, and come back to it. And it's a great point.
So let me try this. Let's see. So actually, I will say this. This is actually a live feature. It's not test.
Okay.
So the way that it works, it's pretty simple. And I'll actually, let me see. Well, you know what? I'm happy. You want me to show everybody how this works or what?
Sure.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. So I'm just going to plug my phone in so I can show you guys. Okay. Let's see. Okay, just about ready. Okay, so here's how this is going to work.
I'm sorry, I am doing something here. I should have kept some conversation going during this.
That's all.
I'm still in the office. I wanted everybody to know this is on the company time, and hence why I'm in here as experts.com VP rather than Nick J. Rishwain. So other items need to get addressed.
Let me see. Let me see what's going on here. I'm running into a couple of little snags getting this shared. Let's see.
That's okay. Yeah, it's Instagram has been big in the news in the social chatter the last 2 weeks, last week and this week.
Oh, so here's what we're gonna do. For some reason, I can't get my sharing to work today. Let me try. Let me try it one more time. Let's see.
Eileen doesn't think she's got the update yet. You seem to have it.
I definitely have it. I just tried it a second ago. Let me see what this is. Let's see. And normally we have our act together, guys, but today been gone for a few days, and now we're just Let's see. Well, I can't seem to get it to work for some reason.
What are you using to?
I'm using Reflector, actually.
Okay.
Let me just quit that, restart it.
I usually go with the old school, hold the phone up to the camera.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I guess I could do that one too.
You're more advanced with some of these items than I am.
Let's see. So what is this? Wonder why that's not working. Okay. Well, bottom line is this. If you're going to use, I'll just tell people how it works, I guess. Sorry about that. Okay. So basically the way it works is this. You will know if you have it just by going to, oh, where's my screen? Hold on one second, guys. Got to pull you guys back up. There we go. Okay. So not sure why mine is not working, but basically here's what's happening. So I'm going to go with the old school method.
All right.
Okay. I'll just pull up a photo. So for example, okay. So I've got a photo here. You guys probably can't see this very well. It's of Canada. I was in Canada.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So basically, if I happen to hit cancel here, it does nothing. It just goes back to like my Instagram feed. Okay.
Okay.
So what I have to do in order to enable this, I basically go back to my Instagram feed. I'm going to select the photo. I'm going to hit next. Okay. So now I'm on the filters page. Let's just say I want to apply the first filter. Okay. So we apply the filter. We're going to hit the back arrow. And there we go. We have, see if you guys can see this. It's blank. It says save draft. There we go. Save draft, discard, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hit save draft, by the way, I haven't gone it. Okay. So when you hit save draft, this is actually what's going to happen here. So now when I go to upload a new photo, there's a draft section there with the photo that I was working on, and I can just tap into it and go back in and continue editing. So very, very, very useful feature for Instagram users.
Yeah, very useful.
Okay, so let's see. So that is basically the new Instagram feature, actually. So they've got a new, bottom line is they've got a new draft feature. As a business, this is super useful for you because as Eileen mentioned, if you're over there trying to use Instagram and you need to go get somebody's Twitter handle, or sorry, their Instagram handle, and you don't have it, you can double tap on the home button, double click, and then go back to your app and go to like say Safari or Google or wherever and get your information. This is also very useful because as a business owner, I can now use this to also create stuff on the fly. So like when I get a couple of minutes, I can go try this and test it out. So that's the new Instagram drafts feature.
I like it.
So let me see if I have anything else. I don't think I have any other topics.
No. Looks like you got tools up next.
Did I skip any topics? I don't think so, right?
No,
Okay.
You got them all.
Let's talk about tools. And I've only got 2 tools for today for everybody, unless you want to add a third one in there.
No, in fact, I think I missed the second one, and I don't know what that one is, but.
What's tool number 1?
All right, go with it.
Tool number 1, LinkedIn Record. And this is for anyone who is a LinkedIn user. We talked about this last week. We talked about the new influencer piece that was being rolled out, where if you're one of the 500 or so people that was invited into LinkedIn to be able to record video, you can now use the LinkedIn Record feature to be able to have somebody record a video, and then you can record a video and respond to them.
Yep.
So very, very, very handy.
I'm hoping this is a precursor to LinkedIn Live of some sort.
Or Microsoft Live or something. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm hoping that because it's only limited to limited number of LinkedIn members who can use it right now, and the videos are limited to 30 seconds apiece.
Absolutely. I'm glad you actually highlighted those points because those are important things to know.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Twitter had this before others. They had the 30-second video before the Periscope integration, and now the Twitter videos are 140 seconds, and then the Periscope shows up in your live feed. So I think this is just LinkedIn finally realizing that it's that video is the way things are going this year, at least this year. And maybe in the future, likely into the future, based on the moves that Periscope, that Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and others are making, that this is likely to be where marketing's going. So this is big for a company like ours, where we have a large number of professional users, and that's who our target market is. Professionals, and oftentimes when dealing with professionals, they're most comfortable or only comfortable with LinkedIn. So I'm glad to see this happening.
And it's gonna be a good. I'm interested to see where this is gonna go, because there's a lot of possibilities with using this. Being able to actually get on video and talk to somebody, I think it's gonna be fantastic. The one thing I'm just going to throw this out there. I know it's probably going to be a sticking point for a lot of business owners, like if you're working for like a major company, because a lot of them do have, certain rules about somebody being like a spokesperson for the company. So it'll be really interesting to kind of see what, we're kind of like predicting, we already know this is going to roll out to everyone at some point, kind of seeing how this works, because a lot of times there's people who are they're the influencer in the company. They're sort of like, not really able to get engaged in those conversations without getting approval.
Right. That's right. Eileen says they have to answer a question that LinkedIn picks. They can't record just any old video. It has to be a response to the question. That's interesting. Now, the description of the LinkedIn record feature that you or app that you provided does not say that.
It's actually really interesting, because if you read through so let's just go through it without having that knowledge. So if I look through it, it's a new way for thought leaders to share timely insights with their followers through the richness of video, weigh in on a curated selection of trending topics. So there are apparently some topics that are selected for them.
Okay.
I guess they could have been a little more clear about that.
Yeah, because the first line of it, you're like, oh, this is great, because it says a new way for thought leaders to share timely insights with their followers through the richness of video. Oh, okay. I have a thought I think would be beneficial to my users and my followers. I'm going to share it. But that seems to be a little bit more complex than that.
Well, yeah, because then if you look at the screenshots that are there, so the first one is from the executive editor at LinkedIn. What will be the biggest change in your industry in the next 5 years? So I guess on one hand, while this is going to be a useful feature, maybe this is also just another way this is a way for them to, to get more influencers using it and get their faces out there, I guess.
I think there's also they may be pushing to try and get more mobile usage. LinkedIn is a mobile app that I rarely go to in mobile format. I go to Twitter, I go to Facebook app regularly. I go to Instagram and Snapchat regularly. I have the LinkedIn app, but I'm rarely on the app. Maybe they are trying to get more people driven through mobile.
Yeah, and they definitely need to improve that description.
Yeah. Good eye, Eileen. Very good eye.
So that's tool one, and then tool two for today, and this is actually it's a fascinating one. So the tool is called Bobby, and it's an app for letting you track your subscriptions. And I'm going to put this in a business slant. So
yeah,
more and more apps tools, doesn't matter. They're all moving towards subscription models. Everyone is moving towards a subscription model. For example, even 1Password, a fantastic password tool, is moving to a subscription model. Text Expander, another tool that I use a lot. That's a tool that I I use a lot, except for the fact that now they're moving to a subscription model as well. And it makes it a lot more pricier to own. It's not a one-time use, one-time purchase. You pay every single month to use it, and you really don't own anything at the end of the day. So Bobby is a way for you to track your subscriptions. And it could be, something simple as like personal stuff like Netflix, those types of things. Or in this case, it could be for tracking like any sort of business tools you're paying on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, we sign up for something, we use it briefly, and then we kind of forget about it. We throw it in the junk drawer,
Right.
AKA our email inbox or something.
Right.
And we forget we have it, and then next year rolls around and we keep getting hit with that same fee. Wondering, well, why am I, what am I paying for exactly? Oh, I didn't realize I was paying for this for 4 months.
Yeah.
So now with Bobby, you can actually track your subscriptions, and you can kind of see what's, you keep all that stuff in front of you.
I like that. That's
So,
very handy, trying to keep track of exactly which subscriptions I have.
And here's the thing. I know you can go look at like a credit card statement and that sort of thing, but I'd say make it part of like almost like a workflow.
Yeah.
So if I were to go in and every time I sign up for something, it hits my credit card, but put it in your app so you can get reminders and so forth from it.
Yeah, I agree. I like this.
And let me see. I might have a third tool. Let me see. So that's tool 2 for the day, or for the week actually. And then let me see if I have another one I can share with everybody. You know what? Yeah, we'll do this third one. Okay, so tool number 3 is actually a bit of an older tool. A lot of people, I've been having a lot of people ask, well, hey, you know what? They want to create YouTube videos. And a lot of people are like, well, how do I get started with this? And so this third tool is actually YouTube Director. And, like I said, it's an oldie but a goodie. And I say oldie, like it's not that old. It's been around for like a little while. But basically, it's, there's a lot of really good things you can do here. If you're just getting started with YouTube, they've got a lot of ready-made templates. They kind of guide you along the way for like creating your video series. They give you some, they help you with some of the editing and then promoting your video.
Oh,
so
I like those.
Pretty handy. It's basically shot-by-shot guidance. You can create a high-quality video ad. It's for video ads. So you can create a video ad and upload it right from the app. So something very handy for people. There's like 100+ templates for business, step-by-step instructions, no editing skills required. Your editing is probably pretty much just your finger, and you promote your video on YouTube.
Very cool.
And it's a free app. So YouTube Director.
And it looks like it's available in a wide variety of languages.
Yes. I was actually really surprised at that. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like what? Like at least 30 languages.
Got to be 30 there at least. Probably. Yeah.
So
I like.
So that's YouTube.
Editing is a difficult task, one I'm trying to learn how to use or do myself right now, and it's not the easiest task to learn.
No, and here's the thing, like I like putting together videos and I like editing them myself, but it is something that you do have to, you have to get accustomed to. I mean, a lot of times people aren't very, they're just looking to put a video out there. Emily mentioned, they have they tell you where to stand and the kind of things you should talk about. Like, absolutely. And this is a perfect tool if you're, just getting started with video. Heck, maybe you want to just get into doing like Facebook Live and that sort of thing. This could even just be a really good crash course. Yeah. It's going to help you get a little more comfortable on camera. Mm-hmm. Because you're learning essentially from the masters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's all I have for today. And we got a bunch of tools and a bunch of tips.
A bunch of news.
Lots and lots and lots of good news this week.
Cool.
So with that, I don't have anything else I want to add. Do you have anything you want to?
Nothing more for me. I got to get back to it.
Very cool. Well, if for everybody's watching, if you want to join next week's show, we do this every single Thursday at 5 p.m.
2 p.m. Pacific.
Perfect. Yeah, and so we got, if you want to join, just go here. This is episode 49. And I want to thank Nick. I want to thank Eileen. I want to thank Web 411 or What's the 411 TV. I want to thank everyone for joining. And I'll have a blog post and a video recap available. But Nick, thanks so much for co-hosting again.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.